Hey folks, welcome to Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. I am your host, Gary Thurman, and I'm so happy you guys are joining us today. I'm in here with my good friend and buddy, fiduciary advisor, Bobby Futch. What's going on?
Hey, good morning, Gary. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. How are you on this rainy day we're having outside?
I know. I think everyone always says we need it. I don't know if that's true, but
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, every once in a while to switch things up. It's not coming down too hard at this point, so it's
I like it till you and I had to sit in the car for 10 minutes
That's right. before you can come inside.
It was coming out pretty good.
I enjoyed sharing an umbrella with you, though, Gary.
Well, yeah. I mean, we look kind of cute walking in.
But we did.
I mean, we kind of did. So maybe people like that anyway. You know what, Bobby? I have missed being in here. I've not been in here. I've been traveling, doing some TV work. We had a vacation planned, and it's good to be back in the studio with you, buddy.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks that I think we held it together.
You and Tim Thurman?
Yeah, Tim Thurman last week. I missed you so much. I changed Tim's last name on our show last week. But, man, we're glad to have you back in the studio.
That's awesome. So, Bobby, I want to talk about this little American dream that I gave to you yesterday. This is a neat little article that came out just talking about how much money the American dream really costs. Yeah. And so I wanted to point out a few things on here just to see what people think about it. Let's go with pets. Now, my wife, by the way, I think I've mentioned it on the show before, we actually cook for our dog and all these different things. So it's looking at your retirement, 11 to 13 years for a dog or a cat being almost $40,000 in retirement.
And you can't even get in the car, on your pet and drive them like a car. Yeah, it all adds up.
180,000 on vacation, which is this is the one that caught my attention because you and I talk about it all the time. We're going to talk about it a little bit today. Healthcare.
Yeah, huge.
For general healthcare, it's looking at $414,000 for a couple in retirement.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's a lot of money.
And you got to plan for it. We talk about it all the time.
We do.
You know, the one that made me gulp here was raising two kids. I'm about to have my second baby.
You are.
$876,000. Kids are expensive.
Man, I tell you, owning a home, almost $1 million by the time you do 30-year mortgages, 20% down, owning cars. I mean, there's just a lot that goes into actually having that retirement dream, that American dream, right? And one of the ways we use it or think about it here, and we're actually going to have some buckets on our set here in a few minutes, but we use a bucket system that works out really well, Bobby, because we do feel that you got to have a place for your money to work.
That's exactly right. Yeah, I met with a gentleman yesterday. Done really well for himself. He's a teacher down in Georgia, and one of his goals is to retire early. He wants to retire at 55. He's got over $200,000 sitting in a savings account.
Just sitting in savings.
Sitting in a savings account.
Collecting cobwebs.
That's awesome. I'm glad that he's done a really good job saving, but $200,000 in a in a yellow bucket,
that's a lot.
Savings bucket, it's not going to get you there.
That's a lot of
So
money.
you got to make sure you use the buckets the way they're intended to use.
You know, I heard another advisor last week, Bobby, use this phrase. You got to know the difference between your guaranteed income and your portfolio income. Mm-hmm. I thought that was really good. And we're going to get into that here in a little bit on our show. And really today's show, some of you may be interested, some of you may not. I think you should be interested because today, Bobby, we're going to break down annuities. And I think annuities get a very bad rap out there. You know what? And some of them deserve it.
Absolutely, they do.
But there's some that don't. But I really want to dive into the history of annuities because, I don't know, annuities have gotten so popular over the last several years that actually millions and millions and millions of dollars are increasing going into these properly structured annuities every year. Yep. So something's going on with them that are pretty good. You got companies pushing annuities inside of 401k plans. I mean, it's a big deal, but I don't think people understand the history of it, Bobby. And I mean, annuities really started back in the ancient Roman days.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible if you start looking at how long these things have been around. You know, they're fairly more recently in the United States, but you're right, the Romans were doing it way back when, the citizens would pay the government. At that point, the government was kind of the annuity or the insurance company. But they recognized way back then that you needed a stream of guaranteed income in retirement. And so folks, when they got ready to retire in ancient Rome, they'd hand over a lump sum of money to the Roman government, and they would guarantee them lifetime income. They probably didn't. They called them an annua.
Which stands for annual payments.
That's right. And the name hasn't changed very much
really
since
hasn't.
then, right?
No.
So we call it annuity now. We added a couple letters to it, but man, they were all over it back in ancient Rome.
They really were, and I think it was kind of cool too, because back then, of course, war was a big thing. So this annua, if the gentleman went off to war and he unfortunately lost his life, it would continue to pay the spouse in the Roman days. Ain't that cool?
Yeah, and I think that's really we're using it for the same thing nowadays.
We are. And what about in the 1600s? Europe really got into the scene here, and they called them, and I'm going to try to pronounce this correctly. They called them tontines.
Tontines, right?
It was really kind of neat. But it's the same thing. They used annuities to help pay for different things. As a matter of fact, they issued these annuities to fund their different wars, their national projects. But I thought it was interesting. I found a note that King Louis XIV used the annuities to raise money for national infrastructure. How cool is that?
That is really cool. It kind of sounds like a treasury bill to me.
That
right?
kind of does.
But with lifetime payments back to the purchaser. So that was a win-win back then. The government got to do the infrastructure projects,
right?
Fund the wars that they felt they needed to have at the time. And whoever was going to hand over the money to the government got, again, lifetime income.
I think it's great. Then let's creep on up there, Bobby. Ben Franklin. I thought what he really did was so cool.
Yeah, this is really cool.
Go tell the story there.
This made it in the news not too long ago because they paid out. In Ben Franklin's will,
right.
he left a couple $1 million both to the cities of Boston and Philadelphia. But the caveat was the cities couldn't go get all the money at once.
That's right.
There was an annuitized gift to these cities over, I believe it was like 200 years since his passing until they paid out. And that's why, there's a lot of things in Boston and Philadelphia named after him. They have really cool libraries up there that he helped fund, a lot of infrastructure for the general good of the people that live there. But again, all he did really was structure his gift as an annuity.
Yeah, really cool. So we're talking about the history of annuities right now, folks. If you're just checking in, they started back in the Roman days. They got into Europe. Ben Franklin started using them to fund Philadelphia and Boston. That money lasted for 200 years, by the way. And then the 1800s, the U.S. finally caught up. They started issuing annuities to take care of families and spouses and different things, Bobby.
This was probably the closest, kind of the birth of what we see as the modern annuity.
Yeah.
Right. And it was 1812. The Pennsylvania Company for Insurance wrote the first contract. And those were really there to help people that really couldn't work or help for themselves. Again, you mentioned widows, orphans. Churches use these a
That's
lot.
Right, absolutely.
If somebody had a big gift to their place of worship, they'd place them in one of these contracts to make sure that money lasted and was used well for the benefit of those folks. Pretty neat.
Yeah, so I want to talk about somebody famous that I think all of our listeners are going to know, Bobby. But first of all, what happened in 1929?
1929, I was not alive in
I was not either,
1929, but that was the start of the Great Depression.
Great Depression, one of the worst times we've ever seen
Without a doubt.
in the U.S., right?
Without a doubt.
What was neat back in 1929, there was a famous baseball player that you guys may know named Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was so smart. Did he lose money in the stock market in 1929? He did. But Babe Ruth was smart enough to go buy several annuities.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a quote, and I may mess it up, but the quote is something like, look, I will take risk in baseball, but I'll never take risk with my income. And I thought that was cool because Babe Ruth remained wealthy.
That's right.
During the Great Depression.
A lot of people forget he played his final baseball season, I believe it was 1935.
Right.
Right? Coming off the heels of the Great Depression. And he could walk away a wealthy man because he structured his wealth in these annuities.
It's crazy. So if we look at annuities, Bobby, as a whole, we're really going to break them down as the show goes so you guys can learn more and be educated about them. But annuities were literally, born out of the need to secure lifetime income, the security of lifetime money. And that's exactly what we're using them for today in our green bucket of money.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because pensions, traditional pensions, they're going away.
They are.
I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I think it's less than 20% of employers often offer pension benefits now. And again, we're not talking about Social Security today, but when Social Security was introduced, it was to be in addition to a pension.
That's right.
Right. That's why it's very difficult to live on Social Security alone.
But people don't realize a pension is a what?
It's an annuity.
It's an annuity.
That truly is just an annuity.
That's all it is.
So as the pensions with these employers are going away, it's up to us as the folks that want to retire, the savers, to put that in place for yourself.
Right.
And the cool thing about it is you've got way more options now when some of these really good fixed indexed annuities, they offer benefits in addition to that guaranteed income that we all want.
Yeah.
Man, they may be better than traditional pensions.
I do. And Bobby, why here at Guardian? I mean, it's not like we're forcing people to purchase an annuity, but the main reason is if somebody comes in here with $1 million portfolio, are we going to throw $1 million into an annuity?
No, we're not going to do that. It doesn't make sense, right? You want to diversify across your retirement vehicles. But what is the number one fear of people in America? It's running out of money. What's a good way of making sure you don't run out of money? The
Buy
only
a
way
properly structured fixed index annuity with an income rider.
That's right. Because if you look at a $1 million 401k and say I'm going to pull out 4% a year, man, I just don't think that works anymore.
I think the number's about 2.1% now.
That's right. Okay, so then you have $1 million,
and you're going to live on 21,000.
That doesn't seem right to me.
It don't sound like a lot of fun.
So
those go years.
The payouts on these properly structured fixed index annuities blow the 4% rule out of the water.
They do.
Which, if it still existed, would be good. Again, we don't think it does. It's more like 2. You can get triple or sometimes almost quadruple that 2% payout guaranteed.
For
it's
life.
Just a tool.
Just a tool. It's just a vehicle. Folks, here, the main reason for an annuities is income, but another reason we like them is because they're safe. The bond market is not what it used to be. The fixed index annuities do a great job. If you think you have too much risk in your portfolio, sit down at home, go to GIAriskquiz.com. Is that correct, boys? Am I saying that
That's
right?
correct.
GIAriskquiz.com. Go take that quiz, see if you have too much risk in your portfolio. Another thing I'd like to offer you guys today is my book. Absolutely free. Plan today, own tomorrow. Got a big section in there about annuities. All you have to do is either call or text 423-710-9199. If you text the word book to 423-710-9199, and we'll get a book right out to you in the mail. When we come back, we're going to break down these different types of annuities. Don't go away. Here's the truth. 70% of us will need some type of long-term care. Most people aren't prepared. And traditional long-term care insurance, it's expensive, and if you don't use it, you lose it. We have modern solutions, plans to protect your retirement, preserve your legacy, and give you flexibility. Text LTC to the number you see on your screen and get your guide today. Let's plan for tomorrow starting now. Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. I'm here with my good friend and fiduciary advisor, Bobby Futch, this morning. And Bobby, we're having I can't even talk this morning, folks. And you said I was going to be wired up. Maybe I've had too much coffee this morning. We're having an interesting conversation today because we're talking about annuities, the good, the bad, the ugly. There's some good annuities out there. There's some bad annuities out there. What we did in the first segment is really break down the history of annuities. Folks, these things have been around for 200 plus years. They've gotten better. And I'm telling you right now, in 2025, I've been doing this for almost 3 decades, and I've never seen the fixed index annuities be so good, Bobby, that they are now.
They are really awesome.
And we're going to break down to it. But Bobby, we threw up some buckets here for our viewers on YouTube, Facebook, everything else. And I think when most people come to see us, they've worked 25, 30, 35, 40 years. I got some cash here, and most of their money is going to be in that red bucket.
That's right. The red bucket is the money in our market.
Right.
It's your risk bucket. And when you're in the accumulation phase, right, you're saving money for retirement, that's really the best bucket to be in.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Right? Now, there are downsides to that bucket, and I think we're going to talk about that recently.
As the show goes.
But we want to make sure that while we're trying to make our money grow, this is where it needs to be. But as you get closer to retirement, you really need to take a hard look and see if you need to redistribute some of your funds amongst the other buckets.
And why is that? Because, I mean, if you have all your money in the market and the market takes a big hit, not going to be good for pulling out money. Okay?
Well, I always think about people that wanted to retire in 2008 or 2022. Right?
Or 1999. Think about that.
1999. It was really, and right before that, those times, the red bucket was absolutely crushing it. You felt like, literally a millionaire.
Yeah.
Right? You could not lose money in the market. And then you lose 40% of your portfolio. Well, you're going to retire if you have 40% less than you did the month before.
You're going to go back to work.
You're going to go back to work.
Yeah.
If, God forbid, you're in retirement and all your money's in the red bucket, Now you got to not only push your retirement out, you got to go find another job, all those sorts
Right.
of things.
Yeah.
It's a risk management tool.
So when people come to us, what we like to do is say, hey, all your money's in this red bucket. We're just going to take a portion of it and put it into this green bucket of money. And the main reason we do this is for what, Bobby?
For guaranteed income.
Guaranteed income. That's it.
And that's really what you want in retirement.
That's it.
Right? You could be sitting on a whole pile of money in the market or in the bank, but you can't spend that until you start to, pull money out.
That's
And
right.
That's another issue too, is if you have enough money and you have a declining value in the green bucket, now you're pulling money off a declining asset.
Yeah.
You're compounding the issue.
Oh, it's
right?
horrible, right?
That doesn't exist in the green bucket.
So, and it's also, we got our yellow bucket here. That's just your emergency account, folks, just so you know. But
Poor yellow bucket never gets any love.
poor yellow bucket. I
It's
love yellow
important.
bucket. We're going to have to create some love for the yellow bucket. But working these two buckets here, we have our secure income. We don't have to worry about what the market's doing. We can still go out to eat. We can still have fun. We can still do everything we want to do in retirement. Now this allows you, Tim, and Brogan to have a little more fun in that red bucket, though, right?
Yeah, because if your income is taken care of, the risk associated with the market is not as big.
That's
right?
huge.
It doesn't go away. I don't want you to think that it's not important to think about it anymore in the red bucket. But if you know where your income is going to come from to make sure that everything is taken care of in retirement,
Right.
you can go for maybe a little more aggressive of an asset
Sure.
mix in the red bucket than you traditionally
Or
would
maybe
in
we can
retirement.
talk about Roth conversions.
Oh, man.
All kinds of different things to talk about,
Love it.
right? I love it. So what we want to do right now, the next few minutes, is break down 3 different types of annuities that we think you guys need to be aware of. I'm going to start with the first one. It's called a fixed annuity. Here in our world, they call them MIGAs. And basically, here's what it is. I compare this to a CD at the bank, Bobby. You walk in, I want a 3, 5-year, 7-year, 10-year CD. I want a 3, 5, 7-year MIGA, fixed annuity. You're going to get guaranteed rates of return, okay? So I'm going to tell you one we have right now, okay? We've got a 5-year fixed annuity right now, paying 5.5% guaranteed for 5 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think that's probably beating CD rates right now, I
It
would
is.
imagine.
Yep.
But here's the difference I want you guys to understand between a fixed annuity and a CD. With a CD, even if you're getting 5.5%, same interest rate, at the end of the year, you're going to get a little thing called a 1099. They're going to charge you a tax on that growth of that 5.5%. But in a fixed annuity, they grow what?
Tax deferred, right?
So the money stays in the bucket
Stays in the
and
bucket.
compounds even more.
That's right. So instead of paying that pesky income tax every year, taking a bite at your CD
Right,
proceeds,
yeah.
it stays in there. And as long as you don't go pull any money out, you don't owe
You're
any
good.
income taxes.
I mean, they're safe, they're predictable, they're simple. There's going to be lower growth because you're at a set rate, and you don't have a lot of liquidity there. But I've seen people stack these fixed annuities and have a great retirement.
That's right.
It's really cool. Let's talk about variable annuities, Bobby.
Do we have to?
We have to.
Variable annuities are contracts that don't offer the guaranteed protection that a lot of other annuities offer. You actually have investments within that contract that can lose money if the market declines. I've never written a variable annuity.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm not even licensed to do it.
Right.
You couldn't beg me to give you a variable
Don't want
annuity. The issue I really have with that is there's a lot of fees in these contracts.
Sure.
There's fees for the investments. There's fees for riders. There's fees for almost
Everything.
everything. And so my thought is if you wanted the returns that you can get in a variable annuity, why not just go to the market?
Just
and do
stay in
it?
the market.
Just stay in the market, right? The fees are a lot less, and you're often capped in these variable annuities
Right.
too. So if you're okay with the risk and the prospect of losing your capital, just go do it in the market.
But I do think people buy variable annuities because they do have income riders attached to them.
Sure.
But here's what I'm seeing. The charge for that income rider, what I've seen here recently in the state of Tennessee anyway, Bobby, is they've got a 6% income increase every year. 6%.
Okay.
That's not bad. But your principal's still not protected.
Yeah.
So your family might be the ones that take the hit for that. Here's the thing though. We've got fixed index annuities that got 7.5%, 8% roll-ups on it. So why would you buy a variable annuity?
That's a great question.
Okay,
I
good
don't-
question.
I don't know.
So-
There are a lot better vehicles out there. The issue
yeah.
with these is that they have been sold for so long
They have.
as the magic potion for retirement.
And they're just not. Because here's what happened, folks. The fixed annuity I talked about and the variable annuity Bobby talked about, they kind of liked each other. They went on a date. All right? They went on a date, Bobby. They got married.
I love it.
Can you believe they got married and they had a child? And it's got a fixed indexed annuity. And the reason I like fixed indexed annuity, Bobby, and I want to spend a few minutes on these because You got the fixed, and what I mean by that is you got a floor of 0%.
Right.
So now your principal is protected 100%. Index means we get to go out and pick an index for growth potential. So let's say the S&P 500. And an annuity, it's a fancy word for a life insurance contract. ANNUA, just like in the Roman days. It's the same thing. But this has got the best of both of those all wrapped into one.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I think the most important thing here is that the floor is zero. Gary, you say all the time, zero's your hero.
Zero's your hero.
If the market goes sideways, declines 20%, and you make 0% in your contract, you're loving it, right? Because all your other friends who are in the market are down 20%, they're sweating it. You didn't lose any money at all. And
come
these
on.
are contracts, so they're guaranteed. Right?
They're guaranteed.
It's in writing.
That's right.
That you can't lose money.
That's right.
And then depending on what type of contract you get in, these income roll-ups are strong, right? So if it's an income-driven fixed indexed annuity,
right,
you know exactly what you're going to get in retirement.
You know exactly 3 years, 5 years, 7 years from now. It's crazy.
And you can even get these, Gary, as you well know, that are not geared towards income. We like to call these accumulation
Love those.
annuities, right? So if you wanted to be a safer investor, and traditionally you would go to the bond market to do that, there are contracts here that will provide you, potentially better growth than a bond portfolio ever would.
Absolutely.
And still protect you on the downside.
You can't beat it.
And so even if you're not ready for an annuity for income, or I met a couple last week from TVA. Man, if I could go back, I guess they probably did away with it. Anyway, the retirement benefits at TVA for them are huge.
Incredible.
They've got more income guaranteed from their retirement
Than
than
they
they
need. Yeah.
So do they need an income fixed indexed annuity?
No, they do not.
No, but an accumulation annuity may be perfect for them,
right?
Because they still want some safe growth on their assets.
But again, it's where you put a portion of their money. I have an example of a client, a couple that came in not long ago, Bobby. They're both 65 years old. They had $1.4 million in their portfolio. Their goal was to have $10,000 a month in retirement. Good go, $120,000 a year. That's strong. Now, their Social Security and he had a pension added up to $6,000 a month. So they had a $4,000 a month income gap.
Right.
So again, $1.4 million. What we were able to do is we were able to take a part of the $1.4 million, $614,000 to be exact, and give them an immediate income of $4,000 a month.
Guaranteed.
So $1.4 million was in the red bucket. We took a little over $600,000, less than half, put it in the green bucket. So they still got a lot of skin in the game.
Yeah.
A lot of skin in the game.
I love it.
Here's the thing I like about this. I just mentioned a 65-year-old couple. This was his 401k. We took the $614,000, put it into the green bucket, but we set him up on a joint payout. A joint. Talk about that.
So a lot of times when you have these income payout options or riders on these contracts, you can do a single life, which is oftentimes generally what your traditional pensions were.
That's
right?
correct, yeah.
You're going to get a higher payout
Right.
if you take a single life. So I don't remember the numbers on this particular contract, but we guaranteed him a joint $4,000. So maybe if he would have done it on his life, it would have been maybe $4,500.
It wouldn't have been that much more.
For the same amount of money. But God forbid something happens to him, and us men usually pass away first.
That's right.
That income goes away. And so we were able to take his retirement assets in his 401k, turn on a joint income that even if he passed away, his wife's not going to miss a beat from an income standpoint because
Isn't
that
that nice?
$4,000 continues.
So, folks, here's the bottom line. Do we feel an annuity is right for you? We don't know until we sit down and have a conversation with you. Are we looking at an income? Do we need an income annuity? Do we need just a little protection from the market and to put money in this green bucket? We have different ways and different types of annuities we can show you. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, do I have too much risk in my portfolio? If you think you might have too much risk, go to GIArisk.com, GIArisk.com. Take the quiz, come in and see us. Another thing I'm offering you today is a copy of my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow. You can call 423-710-9199 and request it, or text the word book to 423-710-9199. We'll get your information. We'll send that book right out to you. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the other benefits now that are added to these income annuities. Stay tuned.
The scariest 4 words in retirement: out of money forever.
That's the number one fear we hear, running out of money before running out of life. You've worked decades to build savings, but without a plan, that nest egg could dry up faster than you think.
And let's be honest, the market alone won't guarantee your income.
Exactly. That's why we create income streams that last as long as you do. It's about turning savings into a paycheck for life.
To get your income planning guide, Text the word income to 877-706-7526.
Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, your host and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors, and here with my good buddy Bobby Futch today. And I made a little bit of mistake right there at the end of that segment talking about the quiz that you can take, GIARiskquiz.com.
That's right. That's right.
GIARiskquiz.com. Go take that test. Come in and see us. Sit down with Tim, Bobby, Brogan. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if an annuity might fit for you. Bobby, let's recap real quick. The annuities are great for a couple reasons. Number one, income. Go.
Right. Yeah, guaranteed income. It's one of the only ways that we know to make sure you have a guaranteed income that you can't outlive. It's a contractual obligation of the insurance company, no matter what happens to that contract.
So, with that being said, if the portfolio runs to zero,
This is massive. Okay, so I'm going to get nerdy for just a
get
second.
nerdy. Let's go.
And so these income annuities, these fixed indexed annuities that offer these income riders, they've got two sets of numbers. They've got the cash value in them, and they have the income value. So when we mention a roll up for income, like we did a couple times in the last segment, that affects the number that your income payout is going to be based on, right? It's generally a higher number. Some contracts give you bonuses to get that number higher, guaranteed roll-up rates. That's all awesome if you're trying to guarantee an income because you're able to know exactly what it is
Right.
when you turn it on. But when you turn that income on, the income that comes out of that contract decreases the cash value.
Correct.
And so I hope everybody that we put in one of these contracts eventually has their cash value go to zero.
Yeah.
You know, that sounds terrible. Why do I think that? Because that means if you pulled more money out of this contract than you initially put in the head growth, you won. You beat the insurance company, right?
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, even if that cash value goes to zero, the insurance company's still got to pay you,
They got to pay you.
right? You know, they're going to look at it and go, Gary beat us, right? There's no cash value left in this contract, but Gary and Ron are still getting their checks.
Isn't that awesome?
If that happens in a market account, you're just out of luck. You've run out of money,
you're done.
right?
You're
You've
done.
run out of money.
You're broke, right?
And so that's one of the great things that happens. But what that also means is if there's cash value left in that contract, God forbid both of you pass away,
Just because your beneficiaries.
your beneficiaries get it.
Yeah.
Right? That's a lot of people think, man, as soon as I sign this annuity contract, I've given that insurance company all the money,
Yeah.
right? And
Right.
my kids or my beneficiaries will never see it. That's not the case if there's cash value left in the contract.
I love that. So we're talking about income-driven fixed indexed annuities.
That's right.
I want to talk a little bit about what we call our growth annuities. Now, these though don't have an income rider attached to them. This is just where somebody comes in to see us and they've got $1 million. I'm just using it for example. We want to leave some money in that red bucket. Maybe we take 300 of the $1 million and put it into our green bucket of money, and we do an accumulation program. Basically, Bobby, we're just eliminating the income rider. We're just putting their money somewhere where it can grow safely. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And most of the accumulation contracts without these income riders, they don't have any fees, right?
Most of them have a fee, and some of them have some really nice cash bonuses
That's
on the front
exactly
end.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. And so, with the way the bonds are now, right? Bonds are not paying very much in a rising interest rate environment, which we think will be in shortly. Bonds are just kind of dogs now.
Yeah.
And so, if you were traditionally go into bonds for safety, it doesn't exist anymore. Bonds aren't paying you. Put what would traditionally be in your bond portfolio into an accumulation fixed indexed annuity. Man, it's a win-win. Again,
Absolutely.
You get the bonus. You can't lose money.
Can't lose money.
And you get those indexing options that are a lot stronger than traditional bond returns.
Oh, yeah.
You can have an S&P 500 index in an accumulation annuity with zero downside risk.
Zero downside risk, and some of these got like 8-9% caps on them, so you can make some really good money.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. And you can reach in after 1 year and take 10% out if you need some extra cash.
That's another thing that's misunderstood.
Yeah,
a lot of people
absolutely
with
it is.
annuities is, well, I need to be able to get at my money. I don't want to give it all to the insurance company. I get that, right? But they don't. The insurance company doesn't lock the door and tell you can't get your money back.
No.
There is reduced liquidity.
Absolutely.
But how often is somebody in retirement going to need to go get all their money all at once?
No. It
Very
had to be
rarely
something really
happens.
bad.
Yeah, to your point, a portion of your money that's in the green bucket, you're able to get 10% of it out a year after the first year.
It's incredible.
That's awesome.
It's just safety net. It's like a lot of our folks will come in and buy one of these accumulation products. They take their 10% out a year and they designate that to their vacation money or They fund their grandchildren's college. I mean, there's all kinds of ways we can set that up for folks.
Roth conversions.
Roth conversions is the best way. Yeah. So something we're going to talk about here in a few minutes. Bobby, one of the things over the last 6, 7, 8 years that the companies have started doing now is we talked about the number one fear in America is running out of money. Well, now because we're living longer, longevity risk is a real thing. The number 2 fear in America is getting sick.
Yeah.
So they went in here and added these what I call multi-benefit riders attached to some of these income annuities. Let's explain that for a few minutes.
These are awesome. And so this is something the insurance companies have done to kind of step into the long-term care space.
Right.
Long-term care, traditional long-term care insurance isn't what it used to be. If you have a policy that's 15, 20 years old, great, keep it. But you're likely going to start getting letters in the mail every year if you haven't already to say, Gary, I'm so glad you paid these premiums for a couple decades. You get the privilege of paying us more to keep this policy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And if you don't have it now, it's likely too expensive to get.
That's right.
And so these insurance companies have stepped up on these income-driven annuities and said, you know what, Gary, I'll hook you up. Right? If we guarantee you a $4,000 a month income, and God forbid you fail 2 of these 6 activities of daily living, we're going to double your income for a certain period of time.
So 4,000 goes to 8,000?
4,000 goes to 8,000, paid directly to you.
Correct.
Right? So if you need to put a ramp on the front of the house, you need to go buy a wheelchair accessible van, redo a bathroom, you can do all that. You need to pay somebody to come help you around the house.
Right.
It's cash money to you.
It's money paid to you.
You can spend it however you'd like to spend
So
it.
are you telling me that the person does not have to be in a facility?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's huge.
That's amazing. Because a lot of people say, no, I don't want to go in a facility. I want to stay at home. Okay, great. This is the way to do it. Because even traditional long-term care insurance, a lot of times it doesn't pay you your maximum available benefit until you're in a nursing home.
Oh, yeah.
Most people don't want to go in a nursing home, Gary, so this is a great way to do it. Here's the cool thing about it. Most of these contracts will pay out for a certain amount of time with these ADL-driven multi-benefit riders, just like traditional insurance. But once you've used up that time frame, it reverts back to the original amount.
Right.
Right? It's not like it goes away.
So you still don't run out of money.
That's right. Yeah.
And I want to talk about another one. That's really on one of our income-driven fixed index annuities. But now we have a program, Bobby, that is just one of our growth fixed index annuities that I love. It's one that I've been talking to a lot of our clients about. Nice cash bonuses up front. Their indexing options are incredible. And they have a 1-year window. After 1 year, if you fail 2 of these ADLs, they will send you all of your money back with no questions.
That's awesome.
That's your initial premium. That's your bonus. That's any interest gain. How awesome is that? You got a green bucket of money. You're putting it there just for safe growth. God forbid you or your spouse get sick. You failed 2 ADLs. They'll just send you all your money back.
That's awesome.
I mean, does it get any better than that?
Yeah. No. I mean,
I really don't.
I've got to come up with a real fancy way to beat that. But, this is really what we're talking to people about now instead of traditional long-term care insurance.
Absolutely.
Because this just makes so much more sense, and you can use it. It's a lot more flexible than the traditional long-term care.
So, Bobby, let's go into a client example we had a lady come in. She was single. The husband had already passed away. So a couple things have already happened. One, she lost a source of income, right? 2, she's now in the highest tax bracket instead of the lowest tax bracket. But she was worried about long-term care and income. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so this was a woman we placed an FIA, a fixed indexed annuity with that multi-benefit rider because she wanted to make sure that income was guaranteed. But God forbid she gets sick. She didn't have anybody left at the house to care for her. That's a big deal.
She had no pension, nothing like that.
So we were able to create a pension for her.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, God forbid you need long-term care, we could double it up. And it gave her that peace of mind.
Oh, she loved it.
This brings up an interesting point that we see a lot of folks when we talk about these multi-benefit riders. Generally, us men get sick first.
Right.
Right. And what are our spouses and our wives going to do? They've done their entire lives. They're going to take care of us.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So generally, they're going to be the caretaker when their husband is ill, right? So if they don't need the extra money, don't turn on the multi-benefit rider.
You don't need it.
Leave it in place for the surviving spouse.
That's right.
Because they're going to need the cash to be able to bring in extra help because there's no one left at home.
And
you have the flexibility to do that.
Long-term care is a big deal for me, Bobby. It's why I got into this business because if you look at what it actually does, you're buying this to take care of you in case you get sick. But you're really buying something like this to give your family some peace of mind. because the stress it puts on the family, financial, mental, physical. I mean, it can devastate a family, Bobby, if you're not ready for this. And I mean, there's been so many people, famous people, that did not have things set up like this. Aretha Franklin, Prince. I mean, they didn't go through the estate planning process. They didn't have anything to take care of them. They didn't have anything in place upon their death, and it devastated the families.
Yeah, and we're not. It happens every day. You don't
Every
just have
day.
to be wealthy or famous. The litigation in a lot of those cases you're talking about is millions and millions.
6
of
years, I
dollars.
think Prince went through 6 years.
It's
millions.
unbelievable. It doesn't have to be that way. You just need to do a little bit of planning now.
So what's amazing about these annuities that Bobby and I are talking about today in that green bucket, we can make sure it fits your needs. We're not just going to throw an annuity at you. We're going to show you, you know what, you might not even need an annuity. But if you do, we're going to show you the one that we think is best for you, your needs, your wants, your wishes. Do you just want a safe bucket of money to grow? Or do you want to fill that income gap that I talked about earlier in the show? Or do you want to have some protection in case you get sick? We have the tools. It's just another hammer in the tool bag, right, Bobby? It's what we're going to use to make sure that we do the right thing for you. All you have to do is come in and see us and have a conversation. Now, if you feel you have too much risk in your portfolio, go to GIARiskQuiz.com, GIARiskQuiz.com. But something else we're offering, call or text 423-710-9199. If you call, just tell the ladies you'd like a copy of my book, Plan the Day on Tomorrow, or you can text book to 423-710-9199, and we'll reach out. We're going to send the book right out to you, no cost whatsoever. After you read the book, come in and see Bobby, Tim, and Brogan. Let's get you set up on the right path to retirement, folks. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more real-life stories when it comes to annuities. Stay tuned.
Do you want to leave memories or a mess?
So many families are left with confusion, taxes, and even court battles because there was no estate plan.
And it's not just for the wealthy, estate planning is for everyone.
It protects your family, passes on your values, and ensures your wishes are carried out.
That's a real legacy, more than just money.
It's peace of mind for the people you love.
To get your estate planning guide, text the words Estate Planning Guide to 877-706-7526.
Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. My name is Gary Thurman, CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors, in here with my good buddy, fiduciary advisor, Bobby Futch this morning. And Bobby, what an interesting conversation we've had in the first 3 segments today. And if you missed that, make sure you go to our website. You can get the radio show right there on our website. Go back to YouTube. Watch it from the beginning. We kind of talked about the history of annuities, which I think is a really interesting conversation. I love talking about that. We talked about the different types of annuities between really fixed, variable, and fixed index annuities. We just talked about some of the additional riders, income riders, long-term care riders, all these different neat tools now that we can add to a properly fixed index annuity. But what I really want to get into in this last segment, in the last 10 minutes we have here, is looking at annuities in real life and look at some success stories and some things to avoid. And listen, folks, I want to invite you. I think annuities get a bad rap, and I think it's just the lack of education. I think a lot of folks in the Chattanooga and Knoxville area, they don't like annuities. That's fine. But once you figure out actually how they work, I think you'll have a little more peace of mind. And that's what we do here at Guardian Investment Advisors. And again, it might not be the right fit for you, but we're seeing in most cases, it's a pretty darn good fit. It's a pretty darn good fit. So, Bobby, let's go into, we had a client in a couple weeks ago. It was a couple. And, man, they got hammered in 2008.
Yeah, they really, really got in a bad way in 2008, and they were kind of snake bit because of it, right? And so the issue was, you lose 40% of your portfolio in 2008 like these folks do, that you're really hesitant to get back in the market. A lot of people don't know that was the longest recession we've had in the United States. If you stayed the course, it took you 5 years.
Yeah, almost 6, right?
Almost 6 years. After 2008 to get back to where you started. And so a lot of people remember that very clearly, and they should. And so they're not excited about getting back in the market.
Right.
We can throw beta and alpha and all kinds of numbers around and talk about risk in the market, and they go, Bobby, I hear you. I might not understand you, but I don't like it.
Right.
Right. And so that's where a fixed indexed annuity can come in, and that's exactly what we did for these folks. I said, listen, I get that you don't like the market. We can't talk you into it, They were getting later on in life, so it probably
Yeah.
wouldn't have been a good fit to go back into the red
No,
bucket.
no.
Now they should have done it in 09, 10, but that ship
Yeah.
has sailed. So we got to work with what we've got, and so they were the perfect candidate for a fixed indexed annuity with a joint income rider.
So they're good now. They don't have to. Now, did you keep some money in the red bucket?
Yeah, absolutely we did, right? So we worked back for them and said, okay, what do you need to add to your Social Security to make a pension for you? And I can't remember what the number is off the top of my head, but we can target a number. And it's really easy to work backwards with these insurance companies to say, I want to guarantee X amount a month or X amount a year. How much premium do we need to put into a contract like this? They give it to you to the penny. You
Boom.
you put that premium into the contract, and now you have guaranteed income for the rest of your life. And now that will allow you to feel a little more comfortable with the money in the red bucket. Because if
Absolutely.
we go through another 2008, your red bucket declines by 40%. You still got the green bucket. You still got an income. It's still there, and you're not having to adjust your lifestyle because
Right.
your income just took a massive 40% hit.
Imagine people that retired in 1999.
Oh,
We had back to back. I mean, 3 straight years of double-digit declines. Most of those people had to go back to work.
that's exactly right.
And so I'm glad you are able to do this for this couple. And that joint, I'm sorry, that income you set up was a joint income. So
right.
both of them will have income for the rest of their lives, correct?
Yeah, and really, it was a big emotional thing for them too.
Yeah.
Right. Knowing that all the way back to 2008, they were still carrying that emotional baggage, if you will, about man, we can't do that again, and they were scared to death.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
you can get rid of it in a properly
Absolutely.
structured fixed indexed annuity.
Tim McDermott, who works for us, his father was a mentor of mine, still is for a very long time. He used to use the phrase sleep insurance.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, we use fixed index annuities with income riders to provide you sleep at night. You don't have to worry about what's going on out there because you know that paycheck's coming to that mailbox every single time because once you retire, the paychecks go away. So let's create another paycheck for you. Bobby, I want to talk about a lady that I met with at Knoxville. And this was a hard one because a lot of times with our job, talking about emotions. You have people come in, they're nervous about this, they're nervous about this. Well, this lady actually had just lost her husband. And it was a hard conversation. He had passed away recently, unexpectedly, of course. And he did have a pension, unfortunately, set up what way?
Probably single life.
Single life. He wanted the most money he could get from that pension. So he basically disinherited her from that pension, which was not great. She had a history in her family of Alzheimer's disease, so she was a little worried about that. But here's the bottom line. She's like, I need money. I need money, and I need it now. Gary, I can't wait 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. I need it now because, unfortunately, I said this to somebody on TV the other day. Ladies, if you're listening out there, if your husband is managing your retirement plan, it's his retirement plan. It needs to be your retirement plan also. And I'm not trying to bash guys.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to beat anybody up here,
We
but
see this all the time, though.
his
Gary.
plan is only good enough for his wishes and his wants. What are your wishes and wants? You need to be part of this program. So step in, get involved, because she did not know that he had set the pension up on single life. She assumed he had set it up on joint life. He did not. She went from being a joint taxpayer to a single taxpayer starting next year, actually. So this was just a few weeks ago. Here's the bottom line. She needed income now so she can maintain a lifestyle. She wanted to do things. She still wanted to travel. She still wanted to have some fun in life. Bobby, she's only 67 years old.
Yeah.
She's got a lot of life ahead of her. So we were able to look at a proper structured fixed indexed annuity with an immediate income. Now, folks, when I say immediate, she'll get a paycheck in the next 30 days. We just did this a few weeks ago. So in 30 days from now, she's going to be able to go to her mailbox. She's going to pull that paycheck out, and every single month, that check's going to come for the rest of her life, Bobby. How freaking awesome is that?
That's amazing. And it really, again, provides that peace of mind. She doesn't have to worry about the market. She knows that the pension that she had when her husband was still living has been replaced.
Yep.
And
His Social Security's gone.
That's
now,
right.
she did move up to that.
Yeah, and a lot of people get that, but they lost hers.
That's right.
You're
They
gonna
lost hers.
you're
Still
gonna
lost
lose
one.
something.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, $1,000, $2,000 a month. That's real money.
It's real money.
Right. And so that's a big thing that a lot of people don't think about in kind of survivor planning. But man, I was so happy that we were able to do this for her. You can kind of see at least the financial burden was taken off her shoulders.
Well, I like our little note here. The annuity wasn't a product that we sold her. It was a lifeline.
Yeah. It
You
really
know, we
was
we
for
threw
her.
out that life preserver and said, here you go, hold on, we got you. And that, look, again, annuities are not right for everyone. Bobby, give me an example of an annuity not right for this particular person.
Yeah, we've got a couple of notes here when annuities don't fit, right? And our first one is if someone needs full liquidity, right? If you're worried about that reduced liquidity from an annuity contract, they're not right for you. But if somebody tells me this, I almost always push back on them.
I will.
I go, listen, I understand that you want the safety net, the mental safety net of being able to get all your money all at once. But is that realistic?
Is it realistic?
How many people need all of their money all at once?
No, and that's why we have our yellow and red bucket of money.
That's right.
Because it's liquid.
And so if you're worried about the liquidity in one of these products, let's have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as big of a deal as you may feel it is.
Yeah, I
And
agree
I'm
with
not
you.
discounting your emotions. It's real.
It's real.
You're going to lock up 90% of your money without a penalty. I
Yeah.
get that, but the benefits often outweigh that. And as long as you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, which we would not let you do
No
here
way.
at Guardian, that's really not an issue. Although a lot of people feel it is a big
Yeah,
deal.
I agree. I think another person it's not right for is someone, let's say they're younger and they're still really in that accumulation, that growth mode. I don't think an annuity is the right fit for them.
Yeah, I would agree with you because, in exchange for a lot of these guarantees, mostly the 0% downside protection, you're going to get capped is what they call it in an annuity contract. And so if you're in the S&P 500 index, for example, they're going to have a cap. It may be a 6, 7, 8% cap. So in years that the market does 20+%,
Yeah.
you're going to get the cap.
Yeah. We
Right.
don't need that for a younger person trying to grow.
Yeah, and you don't want that. You want to be able to take advantage of the market when the market is really good. And when you're, 15, 20 plus years from retirement, you can afford, figuratively and literally, to ride the roller coaster in
Yeah.
the market. Right? You
Yeah,
want as
absolutely.
much gains as you can. Don't cap yourself in a contract.
And the last thing I want to talk about, and I hope you guys listen, if you already own an annuity out there, you have a variable annuity, a fixed index annuity, when did you purchase it? How's it doing for you? Because we're in a interest rate environment right now where we might be able to refinance your annuity. I will tell you right now, one of my jobs here at our company, at our firm, is to make sure that if someone even purchased an annuity from us 3, 4, 5 years ago in a low interest environment, we might be able to refinance that annuity. Just like you refinance your car and home when the interest rates are low, we might be able to refinance your annuity, get you into a better situation. We have some really nice cash bonuses, get you better indexing options, and maybe we add one of those lifetime benefit riders, the long-term care rider, the full liquidity rider. If you have a current annuity now, Bobby, how is it important for them to come in and let us take a look at it?
Yeah, it's vitally important because you make a good point. Everybody thinks about refinancing their homes, refinancing their car loans. That's common. People talk about it all the time. It's a loan based on an interest rate. Well, an annuity contract's the exact same way,
Exact same thing.
right? But as interest rates come up, that's when you want to start refinancing your annuity. So if you're looking at your house and you're going, man, I can't refinance now, rates are way up, go refinance your annuity.
Can I give you a quick example? I know we have a minute left. I had a current client. She bought an income annuity from me 8 years ago. Just talked to her yesterday. She has a set guaranteed income next year with this contract. Okay, so it did its job. I can refinance that, put it with a new company now. I increased their income by $4,700 a year just by making a move to another contract.
Yeah, Brogan, Tim, and I talk about this all the time when clients are going, it's time to turn on that rider. Let's go see if we can't replace it for something better and then turn it on.
That's crazy.
You sign a piece of paper.
There's so many options out there when it comes to annuities, folks. Make sure you're educated. If you think you have too much risk in your portfolio, GIAriskquiz.com, GIAriskquiz.com. And again, if you'd like a copy of my book, Plan Today, Own Tomorrow, call 423-710-9199. Let the ladies know, or text the word book to 423-710-9199. And we'll get that book sent right out to you. There's a lot to learn about annuities. Sit down with a fiduciary advisor that knows what they're talking about. Let's educate you on how an annuity might work for you. Good show, Bobby.
Great show. I loved it.
Hey, guys, we'll be back next week with more Plan Today, Own Tomorrow. Take care.